It will flash here. You can see here. Now I'm coming to that PDF file. Exception. So we were talking about checked and unchecked exceptions. We have already seen, and we have seen about these keywords. Okay. So now I will introduce you about throw and throw keywords. Finally, you already know. Catch you already know. Try you already know. Multiple catch also you already know. Throw and throws. Let me introduce this part, and after that, custom exception class means if you have to design your own custom exception, so how you will design that, right? So first, let me introduce this part. This is throw and throws, and I'm going to my Eclipse part, and you see here we have exceptions A, B, C, D, E. D, E exceptions. So you can see here lot of examples I already have, and based on that couple of things we already covered, and I think this is having everything what I can give the demo for. It has everything. So if I want to show you throw and throws, everything it has, but let me exactly recall like up to what extent we have already covered. So finally finalize we have not touched. Final basic things I have touched. Finally you have already seen in try catch finally, that's okay. Finalize you never know what is that. I will show you finalize, so I will cover this part as well today. So let me cover this part because I remember I have showed you like custom exception, how to create your own custom exceptions, right? Anyone remember you in the last class?
Yeah, you showed it to us.
Yeah, how to create your own custom exceptions class. So that part we have already covered. You can see here this one. Yeah, this example I have already given is how you can design and how you can use it. So both part we have already shown. Oh, so this is the design part, means how you will design it, and users part I already show you that how you will use it. So based on the things you will be using it. Basically I showed you which is the root class of exceptions, throwable, and how it is like parented, means throwable is parent of exception and error. So we will see some examples of error as well. Don't worry that I have some examples that how to generate errors, because it is very hard, means if you will try in your system to generate some errors, so you won't find it very easy. I have some examples where I will show you that how you can differentiate between error and exceptions as well. So a couple of examples we have already seen, and I will try to show more examples today so that you will have the clear picture of that. But let's start today's topic with throw and throws keyword. So basically in the interview they want to know the concept, whether you have this concept or not. Who is pinging? Okay, so you can see here in this what you call it, throw and throws keyword. So one is singular and one is plural. So it's clearly shows that means you can have plurals, multiple exceptions with throws. So throw is used to throw the new instance. Just remember this. Throw is used to throw the new instance of any exception, and throws keyword is just to declare the exceptions, whether it can be checked or unchecked, it doesn't matter. So throw and throws both are used to, like both can be used for checked and unchecked, so there is no rules for that, means you can, but basically throws will automatically what you call check exceptions, and like it will ask you that throws with the throws declaration, you just use it. So that's the one thing. But like unchecked exceptions, you have to go and manually add it there. So it's up to you how you want to do that. So that's the one thing. You can see here, this part is very important. Throw is followed by an instance. So what does it mean? An instance means you have to use new keyword and you have to throw the exception. And this is just followed by the class. So you have to go on the method level and just declare the class name. So that is one important thing. It will use new keyword. It will not use new keyword. It will just declare the exception at the method level. Second is, it is inside the method. This is just the method signature level. Wherever like main method you have seen, or any method where you will have this, there it will be used. So you cannot throw multiple exceptions, but with the throws declaration you can have multiple declaration. So like it is saying here, public void, the method name you can put, and then throws keyword, and first, second, third, any number of exceptions you can throw here. So that's the one thing. Java throw keyword is used to explicitly throw an exception. So basically throw keyword is a keyword in Java, and explicitly means manually. You can manually throw the exception. And Java throws keyword used to declare the exception. So basically it is used at the method level where you will just declare the exception. So what we have to do, sometimes like it will happen that you have some program if condition, and you want that if something goes wrong, then just throw that kind of particular exception and don't proceed further, and the rest of the things you want to like handle in the catch block, and then you can like stop the execution or whatever, means continue the step execution or stop the execution. It's up to you. Sometimes it is needed to use it, so developers are using, and sometimes they are designing their own custom exceptions and just throwing their exceptions. So I already showed that part, I believe, but let me show you that examples as well. So these are something. See here, checked exceptions cannot be propagated using throw only. Means it's saying that basically it will not automatically detected, you have to manually throw that. Okay, but checked exceptions with the throws keyword, it will automatically propagate it. Means just it will like compiler will ask you to go and just to declare the throws declaration. So there is nothing such rule that throw and throws like are not designed for any checked or unchecked. Means anything can be used. So there is no rule for that. Okay, but sometimes like throws keyword automatically detecting, and it is like manually have to go and throw, because basically this is just an instance throw kind of thing. So let me show you some of the examples, and this is something very important interview questions. Once you go in the interview, 90% chances are they will be asking you, tell me the difference between throw and throws keyword in Java. So just recall the things whatever you have gone through and just try to answer it in the interview, and this is something very important interview question. So let's go with some real-time example, and then you will see, and then you will be able to explain here. So you remember like I have tried to implement this somewhere. Is it here? You can see. So this is one implementation. What I am doing in line number 12, throw, I am using throw keyword, and with new anonymous object I am creating. So basically instance means, and you are already familiar with anonymous object. So sometimes you have just one liner, so that time you can use anonymous object. So I'm just creating anonymous object of that custom exception. So this exception I have created, this was not the Java ready-made thing, and the message which I am passing here based on the method message, it will just trigger that constructor and it will just run that. So it is showing you this example of that, and you can see based on that it will throw the exception, and I'm trying to handle the exception here and just trying to print what the exception it is called. So that's something. And you see the design part once again. In this design part, I'm calling this two constructor I have. One is with no argument constructor and one is with argument constructor, and based on the throw new instance what I am calling, it will be invoked. So you see here what I am here calling here, just a message one. So message one will invoke this one, this constructor, and this will again call the parent one. So parent of this is something like a runtime, you already know, and runtime it will go again, it will call the parent. So parent, 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 and finally it will go to the throwable, which already I have showed you last time if you can recollect. But let me show you again. Say that I am like calling this one, argument one, and here I am calling like super keyword. So super keyword, this argument I am passing here. So this will again go to the parent. So who is the parent of this? You are already seeing here, runtime exception. So it coming to the runtime exception class. You see a runtime exception again taking this one as a message and passing the message to the super. So who is the super? Means who is the parent of runtime exception? Go there, and you see here exception is the parent of this, and exception is also calling its parent. So again it is taking this and it is calling its parent here. So you go there, and you see here now it is calling to the throwable. So in the throwable finally it is handled, means no one is parent of throwable. By default object class is the parent of throwable. So this is the root class of exception, or you can say parent class of exception. So this is calling this method, and this is the message which is updating. So based on that it will do the treatment or whatever the exception will be handled. So like this is the hierarchy. And when you have to design your custom exception, so you have to just keep this in your mind that you have to design two constructors basically, and the constructors will be calling their parent. When you go to the runtime, you see here what are the constructors doing. One is calling like no argument is calling super, and this one is calling with the message, so argument one. So this is the something design which you have to follow for your custom exception. So custom exception is designing very easy, and implementation part I already showed you. This is the implementation part. So you see here in the main method what I am doing here, I have a try catch block, and I am like thinking that it will throw some this kind of exception. So I try to handle this exception. If I try to handle this exception and I'm calling this method, so you can see here this method I have already written here in the same class. So this is the test custom exception class, and I'm calling this method. I'm taking the integer is, and there is a throws declaration. So throws declaration also I am throwing here. You can see here. So throws is basically used at the method level. It means method signature level. The throw keyword is used inside the method, and throw will always throw new instance of any exception. It can be any exception. It is not like invalid age exception only. It can be any exception. But just remember, throw will be used based on some if condition you try to use, and if condition is not matching, so I just want to terminate my program from here. Okay, no need to further execute. Then I am just trying to terminate. Sometimes like you have invalid data, so you can just design invalid data exception, and based on data format or whatever, you can just throw the invalid data exception kind of thing. So that will be your custom exception. So that kind of exception you can design here. And now I'm going here, you can see I'm just throwing this declaration, and then it is calling the parent constructor, and all such things will be called, and based on that it will try to throw the exception. And once the exception will be thrown, so it will be handled here. It will be handled here, and it will be like printed over here, whatever it is. So just see the demo once again. Argument constructor invoked, caught the exception occurred, this one the, and from where it is coming, like it is the package name, it is the name of exception, age is not valid to both. So whatever the message I passed, that is printed over there. So this way you can handle the exception. And my final, like I have given this rest of the code, so this is also printed. It means final successfully completed. This program didn't terminate in between, it finally successfully. So benefit of try catches, like you can handle the exception and your program execution will be successfully completed. So that is the main purpose of exception. But we were discussing about like throw and throws. So let me show you more example about throw and throws. So this is throw demo. Again, you can see here a simple program I have tried to create to show the throw demo. So whenever the throw keyword will be there, a new instance will be created. New instance is anonymous object also, you can say, because I'm not using it what do you call it, uh, not creating any object and storing it somewhere. You're just showing the exception, so that's why I'm reusing it. So I'm trying to throw new runtime exception, person is not eligible to vote. So what it is, age is equal to 5 and try catch I have given here. And if I am saying if age is less than 18, so throw new runtime exception, and this you are throwing here, and this message you are passing here. This is the custom message. So what it will do, it will take this and it will call the parent constructor, then parent constructor, then parent constructor. So basically this is the working logic, and you have to understand this. If you want to understand, then it will be like always you thinking how it is working, right? So now you know the clear picture how it is working. So this will invoke that particular constructor, and finally it will go to the throwable class, and there it will call the fill in stack trace method. So that the main working logic. Now if I run this program, you see here based on the age it will throw the exception, and I already know that it is going to throw exception because this condition is matching here. Age is less than 5, age is less than 18, person is not eligible to vote. So this is, it is throwing. So if I want to invoke this one, so I can comment this part. This time I'm not passing any message. Okay. Then if I'm running this, an exception will occur, then it will not print any custom message, but it will show you that runtime exception has been occurred, line number 13. So if I go there and I see, oh, due to this, but if I give here 25, so this will not create any exception, it will print this message, and after that it will come out, print this message. So this is successful execution. Let me show you via what do you call it, debugging mode. So I'm putting here debugging mode and just trying to execute as a debug. You see here it is coming here and stopping because this is a breakpoint what I have put here, and going to the next phase. This condition is failed, right? So if this condition is failed, it will not go inside that, it will come in the else part because this condition is false. So it coming here, then it will print it. So you can see it is printed over here, and then it is coming here. But since this is this catch block is not used, so it will come out of here, and then it will come to the last point, and then it will done. And when it came to the end of main function, you can just click on resume. So your program is successfully completed. Now come back to the Java perspective. This is called perspective in Eclipse. So you can switch between different perspective. So this is something throw declaration or throw uses, how you will use the throw, and we have throws keyword. So I will show you that part. You can see that I have created some of the examples. If you see the line number 10, especially that how I have tried to create. So many exceptions I have tried to create. And here both are there, checked and unchecked. So you know which one is the checked one? This one is the checked one, this is one the checked one, this is one the checked one, and this is something unchecked. This is something unchecked. So these are the examples of unchecked exceptions. So if I remove all the exceptions and then I try to show you, time being, I have what do you call commented it. I removed it from there and I commented. Now my basic program is that I have deliberately put thread.sleep just to see whether my compiler is detecting this checked exception or not, and this is file not found exception. You can see here. So I'm coming here, add throws declaration. You can see here one exception is added. This was this, and it is with the throws declaration. You can see. Now I'm coming here, add throws declaration. So it will give you file not found exception. And more exception, if I try to use like a scanner class, if I use, then I will use input output exception as well. So dot, where is that? There was example of read line. Let me show you that part. Just I'm showing it for exception only, because it is not coming. It is not Java input IO exception example. It is there, but why it was not there? I want to use with the throws declaration, right? So that was I was looking for. But let's see, we have other example. It's not a good example. I'm looking for better example. I'll show you. Basically, normally when I'm using scanner class, no, this time it should use it. Let me try. Maybe that time it was not coming. Scanner class. Next line. System.init is not taking. Let me take this one. It is not detecting here. I was thinking like it should detect, but it is not detecting. Some other scenario it will detect here. So what you can do here, if it is detecting, then it should be okay. Otherwise, you can put here multiple. So you can see I already have two exceptions here. You can put a comma and you can put multiple one. And again, suppose that already have file not found, we can put, this is like unchecked exceptions. So unchecked exceptions also you can put here. So it's up to you how you want to design. There is no restriction. That's the only purpose of showing this example. And also runtime exception is unchecked exceptions. So you can put it like that. Just comma and put it. So you can see here. So via throws keyword, you can just declare, not throw the instance, you can declare. So this is called the exception declaration. I am saying that if this kind of exception will happen, so don't handle it here, go to that particular class and throw from there. So it will not handle it, it won't be handled here. In this case, I'm not using try catch, I'm just throwing these exceptions to the relevant classes, and if exception will occur, so your program will just refer to the particular class, and whatever the exception will be there, it will throw from there. So that's the only difference. But if you are using try catch, so it means you are handling here in this particular program. But if you are not using try catch, it means you are using throws declaration. So it means you are telling that compiler, don't handle it here, you go and handle it in a particular class. Okay, means let the exception occur and I want to handle in that particular classes. So just you can declare multiple exceptions. So this is the difference, and the interviewer wants to listen this answer. So you can tell this. One is inside the method, one is at the method level. You can have multiple exception declaration. Checked exception will be automatically propagated, but unchecked also you can put it like that. So you can tell this kind of answers and it should be okay. You see here. So this is something like very important concept you should have, what is throw and what is throws keyword in Java. So now you go back and you see here, try is okay, catch is okay, finally is okay, throw is okay, and throws is also okay. So all the 5 keywords of exception handling you know. So there are 2 ways of exception handling. One is via try catch and one is via throws declaration. So 2 ways you should know and how to handle the exception. So this is something like exceptions concept you will be asked in the interview, and you will have to explain everything. You should know about like checked and unchecked exception, couple of names of the exception, at least 5 names you should know. What are the exceptions type are there, and with some examples. Yeah, I know this is like checked exception, this is unchecked exception. So this names you should tell in the interview. Now I'm coming to again this part, checked and unchecked. All exceptions other than runtime exceptions, these are checked exceptions. Unchecked exceptions occur at the time of program execution. Checked exceptions are checked by the compiler. Runtime exceptions are not checked by the compiler. If these exceptions are not handled or declared in the program, you will get a compilation error. You will not gain any compilation error for unchecked. So couple of names you should remember: SQL exception, IO exception, class not found exception, file not found exceptions, interrupt exceptions. So at least 5 names you should remember: arithmetic, runtime, null pointer, array index out of bound, and any custom exceptions also you can tell that all the custom exceptions like what you have created, all are the part of that. And now I'm coming to one more important topic like error and exceptions. So exceptions you already seen so many times, but how to handle the errors in Java? Because normally it depends upon the type of error, what kind of like error is going to be occur, and whether you can handle it. And normally errors are not handled by the programmers because some system error, some like any kind of like virtual memory error, stack overflow error, lot of errors can be there which we cannot handle it. And once the error will occur, means you have to just terminate the program, you will have to come out of the program, right? So you can see here some of the concepts they have tried to give you. And if you go there, this most important concept I would like to give you. You go there in the runtime exception class and right click, type hierarchy. If you go this one, right click, type hierarchy. So exception has all the child one, and if you go to the throwable part and open the type hierarchy, so you can see here error and exceptions. There are two things are there, and couple of errors you just go and see that input output error. Mainly this you will encounter sometimes. Virtual machine error, stack overflow error. Maybe it is the part of someone. So these are the errors. This one is assertion error. So assertion errors can be handled. Means if assertion error is coming, so you can handle it by a try catch. But some of the errors you cannot handle it. So mostly people are saying that errors cannot be handled, and if the error is coming, so what it will do? It will just terminate the program. But not 100% I'm satisfied this answer, because I have seen couple of errors we can handle, like assertion error will be coming, you can handle it. Same like try catch. So input output errors maybe you cannot handle it, and like a stack overflow error also you cannot handle it, but couple of errors can be handled. And one is exception, one is virtual machine error. So a stack overflow error is part of this one. So I believe this one cannot be handled, virtual machine errors. So all these are like part of that. Out of memory error means like you have some limited memory and you are trying to create so many objects in the heap memory, like you just created a what you call for loop, and new instance you are creating, keep on creating. So what it will do at the end of like someone, your memory will be occupied and your program will be abnormally terminated like that. So I have some examples which I will try to reproduce the errors, because I found it very hard to reproduce the errors. And this is something extension. So basically throwable is the main thing, and the child things are like error and exception. And you go to the exceptions, so normally checked and unchecked. Basically it is categorized in two ways, checked and unchecked. So you should remember
Hello.
these things.
Hello.
Yes.
Hey Raju, sorry to interrupt you. Abhushan here.
Mm-hmm.
Virtual machine exception, what we just saw.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, can we real time? I mean, can we get this real time when we are using Selenium grid? I mean, when we try to run it like on multiple machines.
Yes, you can. You can. It's like normally
In
I have
general.
seen it. Yeah, normally I have seen it with the terms of memory, and I will
Mm-hmm.
try to reproduce one because I have one example to show you. And that is really helpful to understand how your virtual machine error will be coming and how you will be encountering it. But normally you will not be able to handle it, what I have known.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
Okay.
let me show you, but just I am highlighting that what are the errors you should remember, which is really helpful for you. So I was here, right? Error and exceptions. So exceptions, like mainly they will be asking you in the interview that what are the checked exceptions, what are the unchecked. Basically they want to know you the concepts, that whether you can differentiate between checked or unchecked. So if you have worked really in the real time, so you will usually like you will be easily able to tell that yeah, this is the checked one and this is the unchecked. But if you're getting confused during interview time, so they will catch you, oh, this person has not really worked on the exceptions handling. So this is something very important. It's like if you are skipping this exception handling things, so I think like it's a bad impression in the interview. You should well prepared for this topic, because I believe they will be asking. Errors part they won't be asking, but exceptions part 100% they are going to ask. This part is something like less important, but this is something you cannot ignore. Custom exceptions also, like how to design custom exception. Up to that much you should know. Okay, so now I'm trying to go through the errors. Basically, you are familiar with the errors, but error is something not very much important. Normally, no one is going to ask you about errors, but you just ask you that whether you know about the difference set, who is the parent, who is the child. So those kind of concepts, like and one or two examples you can tell for the errors. That is also okay. As you can tell assertions error, virtual machine error, and couple of things you can highlight. Yeah, input output error. So one or two should be okay, but like exception you cannot ignore. So let me go there and I try to show you some examples. Stack overflow error. You can see here. So I have tried to create the error. The stack, like when the method is executing, that method is occupying some space in the stack memory. So you know about like some of the memory concept in Java, that we have like some memory concept, heap area is there, constant string pool area is there, program counter is there, like stack memory is there, method area is there. So those kind of memories are there. So one of the memory is like a stack where like method execution takes place. So you can see here I have a method. The method name is show. Okay. So what I have tried here in line number 8, I am calling the same method here. This method will call the same method. So what it will do? This is a kind of infinite loop. This is a kind of infinite loop. So I'm just printing the value of I and calling the same method. So it will never end, right? So one time it will happen that once the method is executing, it is taking some space in the memory. And again, if it is calling the same method, so previous space is already occupied. You're creating new spaces every time. So that will call the stack overflow. We have some limited space for stacks memory, right? And if you try to exceed that, then it will throw you that error. So this is called a error kind of thing. Let me show you this example. And in the main method, what I have tried to do, I have created the object of same class, and we have the show method. So here I am in the main method, I am calling this method. And this method it will go and it will call the same method. And if you want to show int in the debug mode, then it's very much interesting. Go there and just right click here, run as Java application. You see how many like method area created. It is just focus here, right? This area, I'm talking about this area. It came here. It is not showing here, but basically it is executing here. One 11393 up to here it executed, and after that it's halted, something like that. Some errors here I'm getting here. Eclipse timeout exception, timeout occurred during waiting packets 400. So let me terminate this program and I'll try to execute in the normal perspective mode. right click, run as Java application. So in the normal mode, you can see here, I'm getting this Stack Overflow error. Line number 9, this one. So this is something example here. Stack Overflow error. You can see there was nothing wrong in this program. The concept which I have used, that was the wrong, and this causes the Stack Overflow error. The same method is calling same method. Okay. Like this is one way. I can just try to create one for loop or while loop I can take. New. But it will do this program, you understand? It will keep on creating the anonymous object for the infinite time. And I believe this time, and I just created one small program and I'm trying to reproduce the error. Let's see. It is still executing. You see here, terminated has not come, so it is still executing. And after some time, it should throw me because heap memory will be full. Now, this is not the perfect example, then I will find another example to show you some. I have couple of examples here, out of memory error. This was one example, so it is taking too much time. So let me terminate this. I will go with the another one.
So in the last example, what true did we check? I mean, did you validate it in
this
something?
Is infinite loop. True means like condition is always true, so it will always enter in this loop, right?
Okay, once we get into the main program, it will enter there without any, I mean, without any check basically.
Yeah, keep on doing this. Like suppose that you see here,
but
int
okay,
I equal to 1 I'm giving right here, and I'm printing the value as also, like you can see here how many times it executed. I plus plus. This loop will never end. You can understand that because it is always true. So basically loop condition is true or false, right? Based on that only the loop will work. So I put the condition is as a true. So it means infinite loop.
Okay.
You can see how many times it keep on executing.
Okay, anyway, we are creating a new stack as well, so it is not stopping anywhere.
So let me show you that part. Means I can create a constructor so that you will understand more. Out. You can see this is executing actually, and based on my memory, right, it will take maybe some time, but definitely it is going to throw some error, but I don't know to what extent it will keep on executing.
Okay, what kind of error we are expecting now in this?
Because like it is like some memory error you should get, right? It is a heap area we are occupying.
Okay.
So it is, see here, keep on executing and executing and executing. I don't know up to what memory it supports. Basically, I'm trying to reproduce the memory error, but it is up to supporting here. So let me have another example. I have. So you see here, I have another example, and this is something a string. So you know, like I'm using the string literals here. So where it will be, it has some constant string pool area, you know, right? So constant string pool area is always limited one. So same condition I'm trying to concatenate here. So concatenate, it will again like try to concatenate and create the object, and again I'm assigning it here. So definitely it should work, and it should work. What I am expecting, that it should show some kind of error which is stack something. Let me try to show you if this is working. This is also not the perfect example. I told you that errors examples are not perfect. You will find challenging things. So let me stop this, and I have another out of memory error. I think this should work. So you see here what I'm doing here. So maximum memory I'm taking of my computer, and I'm printing here, and like I'm trying to create some array with the maximum memory size 1, and I'm trying to assign some values up to that much. So let's see if this examples work, then I can show you something which can be like handled. So far what we have tried, nothing is working right to reproduce the error. You can see here this is the maximum memory which it's supporting here in my computer, and here I am getting here java.lang out of memory area java heap space issue. So this is the issue I am getting, and this is the example. Okay, and the line number 11. So here I am getting, if I am trying to create one array, and since the size is limited and I am trying to exceed the size, so that's why I am getting a size error. So based on my current memory, I'm trying to create one more size of array, so it's not allowed. So that's why it is saying here out of Java heap space, out of memory error. With this reason it is saying that. So this is something, one example, but other examples like you have to keep try and like keep on exploring the internet, or probably you will get some kind of examples for that. So I'm checking. No, this one is something different example. I have to concatenate test. This is performance of string buffer and string builder, I believe. You should know this. This is something good one example. I believe I missed that time. This is something how you will test that the performance of which one is better, string buffer and string builder. So sometimes you will ask this question that how I will test, but it's nothing important. But since it is there, so I can explain within like 2 minutes, should be okay. You can see here I have one main program over here. So what I'm trying to do, I'm just comparing the time of like if I do the same thing with the string buffer, and if I do the same thing with the string builder, so which one is taking more time? Okay, so basically string buffer will take more time because string buffer is thread safe kind concepts, and string builder is the fastest one. So string builder will take less time. So this is something example, you can see this example. So you can see in line number 12, I have used system.current time list. So basically it will show you the system time in milliseconds, and sometimes when you have to do some like time calculation, so you can use this method. System is a class in Java, which has some static methods, and current time millis is like one of the static method. Basically, the current time, whatever the data time in my system is there, it will just convert into the integer value or like long value. So it is just creating that time, and you will assign. I am just printing it here as well. So whatever the time is there, I can show you that it is at the long, or you can say top of that, means integers, like maximum range is long. So long is like having that digits, you will see here. And I'm creating one string buffer object here with Java. So that is allowed, as you already know. This is the standard way of creating the string buffer. And what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to use append method every time plus some integer value. So it will keep on increasing, and after some time I'm closing it. It's like up to how much I'm creating here, 10,000. So it will 0 to 10,000, it will keep on doing, and after completing of this loop, I'm again calculating that what is the time. So when it started, what was the time, and when it ended, what was the time. And now I'm calculating end time minus start time. So whatever the time it was like there, so end time will be obviously greater one, and start time will be lesser one. So it will just calculate the time in millisecond. So it will show you that this much time it has taken. And again I'm trying to create one more object of the string builder. So before that, again I am starting here, that now the current time is this one, and then I am putting a separator here. You can see again the current time is in the millisecond. I am calculating, and I am printing here that this is the start time, and this time again I am creating. Earlier I have created the object of a string buffer. Now I am creating the object of a string builder, and same thing I am doing. Nothing is different, just to show you that which one is taking more time and which one is taking less time. So if based on this difference only, you will be able to recognize that which one took more time and which one took less time. Same programming I am doing, nothing changed. Whatever the code I have written here, the same code is written over here. You can see. And then I'm again calculating the end time, and then I'm printing the end time, and then printing the difference. So based on that, it will just show you that which one took more time. And this is just to check the performance, that if you go with the same concept of a string buffer and a string builder, so which one is taking more time and which one is taking less time. So right click, run as Java application. So it is saying that time taken by string buffer for doing the same kind of thing, it is taking 8 milliseconds, but string builder is taking 6 milliseconds. So this one is faster. This was some example, so I just showed you that example. Other throws declaration already shown. One is parsing exception. This is something like, I think in the lab exercise I have seen this question. Write a program where user defined custom exceptions. This part we have already seen. Where is the parsing one? Okay, it's not there, but you should know this. Let me show you this parsing exception example. This is very important for you. Just focus on the things. You will be introduced with some of the new things here. One is parse exception, and it is present in the java.text package. So line number 11, I'm taking a string. This is a string data, and I'm putting here date. Sometimes you have to validate that whether the date is in the correct format or not. So you see here, I'm putting here dd mm yyyy. So dd is like date, mm is month, and this is year I am passing here. So basically I'm just putting, this is just a string, so don't worry for that. Line number 11 is simple thing, but line number 13, which is something new for you, and you should know this. So there is a simple date format class in Java, which is having parse method, format method, everything it is having like lot of methods. So let me go there and show you, because something it is related, so that's why I'm showing you. So simple date format has one method called format. So basically it takes the date argument and it formats into the given date format. Okay, so that kind of things it will do. And one is like parsing is there. So parsing, like you have to give the string and then it will parse it, that whether the format what you have decided whether it is in that format or not. And for that it is using a local class, you can see here. So local is a class in Java which basically deals with the date and time things. So this is something related, but high level things I am just showing you. Now I'm coming to this one, parse exception again. So many things open. So I was just going through high level things, that what are the things you will be using. One, you will use like format of this class, that's very important method. One, you will use the parse. So this is something very important method, you will be always using it. So now I'm coming back and showing you how to use it. So new simple date format, and here I'm assigning it to date. So why it is like that? Because when you will parse here, it will show you the return type is date. So that's why I am using date. But you see here, when I'm coming here, you can just create the same type of object. But since due to this method, I'm just using it in the date class output. So that is another class in Java which we have already seen, but sometimes I'm using for date time printing, you know. So what I'm doing here, I'm passing this date here, and I'm given the format, it should be in this format. If it is not matching, it will show you some of the exceptions. Okay, let me comment this part. I'm running it, or just to check whether it is working fine or not. Last line I'm printing here, this out, print off the program. So it is printing end of the program, it's successfully passed, the date was correct. But what if I messed up? Again, it is, how come? It should show me something.
Can we print output?
Output can print, it's okay. I'm just assigning it here, but like it should show some parsing exceptions. That's what I was expecting. Let me show you this way, because I'm expecting this format, right? And this format, if it is not there, it will show you some parsing exception. What output you want to print? This one or this one?
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Basically, this is one object, right? So basically, if you want to print, it won't be printed like this. But let's try. Yeah, it will print it. Correct. Yes, out. So it is parsing, but like it is not correct parsing. Whatever it is giving, that is something different. But let me show you some example from the internet, parsing exception. Sometimes like examples are not correct with me. Java date parsing exception. This is one example here. Let me comment it out and I'll try to show that example. You can see here I'm giving some date here and I'm passing the format here, that this is the format, and I'm creating a date type object here. Same is concept is here. So one line I have written here, just it is in the 2 lines, so nothing to worry about. Basically it's doing the same thing, and then I'm printing this current date. So you see here whether it is matching with this one or not. So I'm passing it, then D is for date, but this is not the format which is it is there. So what it will do here, this object it will try to pass based on this format. If the format is not matching, then it will throw some of the exceptions. So what I was expecting, but it was not throwing. So now it is throwing unparsable date. So why it is unparsable date? Because the date which I have given and the format which I have given, it is not matching. So based on that, it is trying to parse and it is not matching. So this is something parsable exception kind of thing. Date, in terms of date. Line number 14. It is trying to parse here, and if it is not pass, so you will get like parse exception. But you can handle this exception. It's okay, up to you how you want to handle it. This was just for a demo. First I'm trying to create the exception and then you can handle it. So this program is something parse exception handler. So let me put the today's date. Today is 3/09 and 2022. Everything seems fine. If I change here, if I am changing, it is not working, right? So maybe if I change it here, then it should throw me that exception what I was expecting. If I am running this program, again it is working. So maybe it needs the whole thing in the format. But so what I'm trying to do here, I'm just trying to pass the date, and based on the date I'm like printing that and then formatting. So one is like date parsing and this is formatting. So if I have the date and I want to format in a different format, so I can format it. You see here, consider that this is the date. First I try to parse it. Let me comment this part. The parsing is done, it is working. So what I am trying to do, I am like formatting it. Okay, so format I am trying to put here that it should be in the year, month and date, like this. So if you have a date, and sometimes you will be needed that you have to change the format of that date, like you want to use hyphen, you want to use dot, plus any format you can. So you can just use this concept here. Here you can just pass in the string that in which format you want to print that date and time, whatever it means. If you want to print a time as well, so you can put that as well. So it's up to you. And let me show you if it is working. Illegal argument exception cannot give in the format as a date. So which is expecting as a date. So that's why it was like this. So let me comment. So I'm passing this. This needs a date object format. Okay. And this is one example, and I will show you another example for this. So you can see here the format which I have passed, it is printing in that format. But if you want like today's date, so simple is like new date, you can put like this, because this method needs the date object. So I'm just passing the new instance of date, anonymous object, and based on that it will print in this format. You can see here, this is coming. This is one example, and this is another same example, I believe. Yes, I'm using it. I'm creating a date object here, and then I'm passing here in the format date. So instead of that, I can just create, I can pass it like that. No need of this. Just reducing the program, and then you can print it. But if you want to minimize this whole program, so you can just write one line. You see here. That's out. Anonymous dot. Just one line. You can see here the output it is coming in one line. The format which I have provided, it is so month, date, year. If we provide 3M, so it is coming in this format. Some of the examples were there which I just want to highlight it. Now I'm coming to more part here. Throw and throws is done, but one thing is still I remember, I told you, if you can remember, when I was dealing with inheritance, so there was some line written that if it is a parent-child relationship, so throws keyword is having some rules. So that rule you have to know, and that is very important rule. If it is there, then should be okay. Otherwise, I will go there and I will show you that part. Yeah, it is written here. Things to remember. And here it is written a very important one, that if there is a parent-child relationship, and in the parent class overridden method means in the child class, it has some kind of rules with the throws declaration. So there are some scenarios which you have to understand, and the scenarios is that in the parent class we don't have any throws declaration, does not have any throws declaration. So rule says that in the child class overridden method cannot declare checked exception. Checked exception you cannot declare. You can have three things. Checked exception you cannot. You can leave that part in the child class, but if you want to declare the exception, you can declare unchecked. So basically there are two scenarios. In the parent class, throws keyword is used or not of any method, and it is only for overridden method, right? So first try to design that part and then try to reproduce that part and try to understand the rule. So I'm coming here, maybe I have that example here, parent child. Now I have parent child here, and I have a child class, and I will open it side by side and I just try to make you understand this concept. You can see I have a parent class, I have a method m1, public void m1, and in the child class it is a child class. You can see here there is a relationship. We also have same method m1, and in parent class I have declared a checked exception. So there are two scenarios. You don't declare any exception or you declare one exception. So I will show you both part, then you will understand. So let me design one more method, m2. Okay, which is not having any exception. I will show you same example. parent inside the child. This you have to tell in the interview when you are asked about method overriding concept. So you can add that point. If it is like having throws declarations, then this scenario will be there and you have to answer it. So first condition is that in the parent class overridden method, this is the method same here in the parent and same method in the child. So it is the overridden method in the child. So I have a declaration of throws keywords, and I have a checked exceptions over here. And second scenario, I have a method also like overridden method. I don't have any declaration of any throws keyword. So both of the scenarios are mentioned here, that in the parent class does not have any exception, and in the parent class you have some exception. So let me deal with one by one. Does not have exception. So I'm talking about this part. In the parent I don't have any exception. So if I go there in child class, I try to declare this checked exception. So basically it says that it's not allowed. It's not allowed. You can see here, if the superclass method declare exception or don't declare. So if you don't declare, so in the subclass overridden method cannot declare the checked exception. So you know this is a checked exception, but if you go there and try to define unchecked, so compilation error is gone. So it says that if the parent class method does not declare any exception, so in child class you cannot declare checked one, but you can declare unchecked. So unchecked is allowed. And second thing is says that you can leave it blank. That is also possible. So I'm not getting any compilation error. So as per the rules, this is the concept you have to understand. You go there, you understand, right? Now second point, it is saying that in the parent class, if you have exception, so in child class it's not mandatory to have the exception. The rule number 2, in the parent class if you have exception, so in the child class it's not mandatory to have the exception, so you can leave it blank. The first point is that. Second point is that you can have the same exception, but you cannot have the parent. So what does it mean? You know who is the parent of this? So IO exception is the child, but exception is the parent. So you cannot declare the parent exception in the child class. I hope you understand this point. So IO exception is the child and exception is the parent. So either you can have the same or child is allowed, but parent is not allowed. You see here, I can have the same. Okay, so same is allowed, but the parent is not allowed. But you can also have the child one. So if I go there in the exception, just right click and open the type hierarchy. So I have suppose that any child exception I'm taking. For example, I'm taking format exception. I'm taking. Right click, type hierarchy. For example, I'm taking anything like format exception. If I am defining here, what is that issue? Format. Right click, type hierarchy. Its parent is not allowed, same is allowed, and child is allowed. So I'm taking like file not found exception. Consider that. Yes. You can see here, if something you have defined here, so parent is not in the allowed in the child, same is allowed, child is allowed. Just remember this concept. Okay. So this point is clear. Even you can have unchecked as well, so that is also possible. So I can go for runtime as well. So runtime is allowed. It's unchecked also allowed. So this concept is clear or not? This is very important, and it is related to method overriding concept. So because that time you didn't know about exceptions things, so I ignored that part. But since now are coming to the exceptions part, exceptions handling, so I just try to explain that concept, and it is something related to method overriding. And now I have one more topic in the exception. Yeah, this was parsing one. I told you that I saw it somewhere, right? Write a program to throw parse exception while parsing as a date entered by user, convert the DD to whatever. So this was the example I already showed you. Write a program to throw array out of bound exception. So this part also I can show you. It's very easy. I have this example. So this part is very, very important. You should know this concept. Array index out of bound. So I already have this concept. I believe I already showed you, right? So I have like integer array of size is 5, and index would be normally 0 to 4. That is ideal one. But if I am trying to print index which is not in range, so that time I am expecting this array index out of bound exception, and this will be occurred and this will be thrown. So let me show you without try catch. So what will handle, what will happen if I don't use try catch? I'm just trying to print the wrong index, so I will get that exception. Array index out of bounds exceptions 5, line number 18. So this is the error code. I will comment it out, and now I have the same code but with the try catch finally. So you already have the concept of try catch finally. This exception will occur and this will be handled by this catch block, and when this catch block will handle this exception, so after that finally will compulsory executed and this will be done. And there is one interview question that when the finally will not execute. So if you put something in the try system, one is like system crash issue and one is system.exit. So you put here something like, if you use this one, so what it will do, it will not execute the finally analysis. From here only up to here program will successfully execute, right? I'm expecting something, it is a correct code because this is already going to throw exception. So up to here it will come and then it will execute system.execute and exit, and then it will exit from here. So this is something, because I already told you system class has some of the more important methods. You can go and check. So this is something very important, and once you use this, in this condition finally block will not execute. This is interview question. One is system crash, and if you are manually calling this system.exit, in that condition also finally block will not execute. You see here, if I am commenting this, and first I will show you that execution. So you see here, end of the program finally is executed, right? This message is coming, but I put it here deliberately. I am putting here before this exception coming, I putting here. So what it will do, it will terminate the program after this. Nothing printed after that. Can see here. So in this condition, finally block will not execute. So this was also write a program to try, catch, and finally block, that you are very like familiar with. You can write it. Nothing left. Error part also I have shown you. So it is saying that impossible to recover from errors, but assertions error are something like you can recover. Unchecked type happen at runtime. So these are some concepts you can go through basically. And one thing you can tell that, yeah, couple of examples you can tell. But basically in the interview or whatever the real time, you will be only dealing with the exceptions thing. So no issues. If even you are like good at exception sites, so it's good for you. Now some more new topic is there which is coming. Final, finally, and finalize. So this part I can take after the break, should be okay, because this is something new topic. Finally, you already know. So in the interview they will be basically asking whether you know these concepts or not, and basically they are trying to check your confusion level. So if you are clear with the, because this is something co-related thing, final, finally, finalize. So people normally used to get confused during interview. If you are not confident, then probably you will get confused. So initially it happened to us as well, but like later on when we are familiar with the Java things, so it got like clear. So which one is like used? So something it is new to you, that is finalize, that needs a kind of explanation and a detail. Finally you already know. So final things I will explain, that how we can use final in Java. So let's meet up after a break of like 20 minutes. And if you have doubt before going to the break, if you have doubt, you can discuss with me. Then I will come back with a new topic. This is final, finally, and finalize. Have any doubt? Anyone any doubt?
Rajiv being here. Rajiv, once again, can you briefly tell about the checked and unchecked exceptions?
Okay. See, you can see here in this program I'm using try catch. So basically there are two ways of handling exception. One is like via try catch and one is via throws declaration. So throws keyword, basically the compiler automatically declares the checked exception. Okay, so if I remove this part, the try one and the catch one from here, and the finally also, you can see here I'm getting some compilation error. So if the compiler is able to detect that exception, so that exception is called the compilation or checked exception. Okay, so that's the only thing which you can understand. Oh, this is the checked exception. So how to handle that? If you come here, mouse over, so you will see here two options coming. One is via throws declaration and via try catch. So if you go with the first option, you are saying that I will not handle it, that the system will handle. If exception will come, that class will handle it. And in that case, your program is going to terminate. If exception is not handled, so your program is going to terminate. So you are just declaring and saying that, yeah, this code can throw some kind of exception, and that exception I will not handle. This will be handled by this class. Again, I'm coming here. It is again asking add throws declaration. So you can see here now that exception is removed and this is coming. So since input output exception is the parent of file not found exception, so that's why that exception is removed, and this, if parent is there, so no need of child one. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. So Rajiv, is it always good to catch the exception with try catch block rather than leaving it to?
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's always better to handle it here where you are writing your code. Basically, then you will have some control. Okay, and your program will not terminate abnormally. You see here, I was like looking for that example input output exception throws declaration. So now it is coming here. That time I was not able to get some example, right? So you see here I am getting here in the main method. I'm just creating the instance of that, and then test method I'm calling. So you see here, since this is throwing this what you call exception here, so main method also throwing this exception. Okay, just a basic thing is there, just whether compiler is able to detect or not. If compiler is able to detect, it means it's a checked exception. And you just remember the names of exception, because in the interview you will be asked, and that time only the memory things will become like working. So whatever you have in the memory, you just tell, yeah, this things I know, because in the interview you will confuse which one is checked and which one is unchecked. This is the most common things I have seen. And if someone is answering, then like the interviewer will like make you confused. Are you sure there's a checked or unchecked? Are you sure? So again, if you are not confident, then you will confuse. Okay.
Thank you, Rajiv. Yeah.
Any other doubt anyone has? So this is something like end of exception topics. Now I have something different topic, which is final, finally, and finalize, which is not only finally is related to exception, but that you have already seen. So mainly I will be focusing on final keyword and finalize method. And finalize method is something new to you, and how to use it, how to implement it, that is something long topic which I will be dealing on. So I will come with like 25 minutes break, let's take, and I'm stopping the recording, then I will come back, then I will start it. Today again attendance is less, I believe. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 people only. Again, last time Ganesh Chaturthi was there, but this time okay, it's okay. I am stopping the recording as of now. When I will come back, then I will start it again.